So Beyonce is challenging the IRS in regards to this $1 million bill that she may owe from 2018 and 2019. And we got to ask ourselves, what exactly was B doing in 2018 and 2019? Now some fans are believing is the reason why that Beyonce's doing this huge tour is because she needs the money? Beyonce? Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So when I saw this story, this was it yesterday, in regards to Beyonce challenging the IRS, I was personally triggered because I don't know about you. I just finished doing my taxes. When was taxes due? Earlier this month. And I'm still dealing with the, just kind of figuring out how do I owe all of this to this one and that one? And here's the thing, and I think this is important, especially for entrepreneurs. When you are, because I did my own taxes for years. But as an entrepreneur, your taxes get a little bit more complicated. And it's important to have professionals behind it to kind of be like, well, no, you can get tax breaks here, there, and everywhere. Because our tax laws change all the time. So you have to be able to know what you're doing. And this is why it's important to have a really good accountant, especially when you are an entrepreneur, especially when you're working in entertainment. So I'm not surprised that Beyonce might be having this situation, but because it's Beyonce, it's heightened on a whole other level. I think what stood out to me the most, that surprised me the most, that some fans, I'm literally seeing these comments from a fan group questioning that, is this the reason why Beyonce's launched this extensive tour? Is she having money issues? And I'm like, did you guys forget that Beyonce just was paid allegedly, reportedly, $24 million for one performance in Dubai? And that's just one example of how Beyonce is making money around the board. Here's another example. You know that Ivy Park deal that she had with Adidas? Even though Adidas wasn't making money, Beyonce was still making $20 million. I think every year, no matter how Ivy Park did. So Beyonce is not hurting for cash. So that seems to be a narrative. But look, at this point, I should know better because everyone on the internet will just create whatever they want to create, say whatever they want to say, assume everything that they want to assume. But the tax situation, here's another important thing for all of us to learn. The IRS, although it can be a little scary, doesn't mean that they don't get things wrong. And that's exactly what Beyonce is accusing them of, is that they have it incorrect. So our friends over at Entertainment Tonight write this. Earlier this month, Beyonce filed a petition in the United States tax court contesting nearly $2.7 million in tax and penalties. Mind you, if the IRS gets it wrong, can we get a penalties refund? Because they charge us penalties if we're late or what. What if you're late in paying us? We don't get penalties. We're like, oh, well, we owe you this amount. Well, I want some interest on that amount you owe me. Sorry. Personally triggered. So Beyonce filed this petition in the U.S. tax court contesting a $2.7 million tax and penalties bill that she has. The document asked the court to reconsider additional tax and penalties assessed by the IRS in a notice of deficiency given on January 18th of this year. So according to the notice, Beyonce owes $805,850 in additional tax and $161,170 in a penalty for 2018. What was happening in 2018, y'all? I had to Google schmoogle, and I'm glad that I did. That was the same year that Beyonce did her Beachella, remember? So that was the same year that she did Beachella, and she reportedly was paid between $8 and $12 million, according to Billboard, for that performance. I think it's important to know what was happening then. So they continue to, it also states that she owes $1,442,747 in additional tax and $288,549.40 in penalty for 2019. What happened in 2019? Beyonce released her homecoming from the Beachella situation. Just want to remind you that. So they said there is also interest due on those amounts. Beyonce argues in her petition that it was an error on the IRS part. And I know for some people, they were like, B, how are you challenging the IRS? They don't get it wrong. The IRS are human beings, y'all. Just saying. So they're saying that it was an error on the IRS part and claims that they refused millions of dollars worth of deductions. So that's another part of this situation. And this is where it gets complicated. And if you're not an accountant, or if you're not very much involved in the accounting and taxes of your own personal taxes, especially as an entrepreneur, then some of this is sort of like, how does she know? And what are these deductions? Well, depending on your type of work, depending on what people have put down, depending on the proof that you have. Well, they're saying that the IRS refused millions of dollars worth of deductions, including $868,766 of attributable to a charity contribution carryover reported in 2018. It will be interesting to see how this will play out in regards to the courts, and if they will reassess and be like, well, no, this was legitimate, or why they originally said that this was not legitimate deductions. I'm not a tax attorney. I'm not an accountant. Just saying. So they said, as for the penalties, the IRS assesses that 20% of the amount of the underpayment of tax is due. However, Beyonce I love how they say Beyonce. Beyonce probably knows about this situation, but she's having her tax attorneys handle it. All right. So they said, however, Beyonce contests in her petition that because she, quote, has acted reasonably and in good faith, if any tax is due, the penalties should not apply. I mean, look. There are situations like this, and I know for like for layman's, we're sort of like, is this something that we can do? Well, if anything, Beyonce's teaching us, and this is what they don't teach you in college or in high school, like some of these basic things when it comes to financial literacy that we need to learn and understand. And I'm learning these things at my big age in the last couple of years, especially being an entrepreneur. In regards to deductions, in regards to things that you can challenge. And right now, she's teaching all of us and probably her peers in the industry, like, oh, I can challenge the IRS? Or, oh, I don't have to pay these penalties because I'm acting in good faith? This is why you need a good tax attorney. Just saying. So Beyonce filed a petition as the sole taxpayer, and her husband, Jay-Z, is not included in the filing. That's interesting. But that's a whole other situation, way above my tax experience in regard, because I'm not married either. However, they said, according to Forbes, once a petition is filed, a taxpayer typically doesn't have to pay the underlying tax until the case has been decided. And for Beyonce to challenge this, because look, I don't believe that Beyonce has a problem paying $2.7 million. I think she has a problem if, according to her tax attorneys and her accountants, they're saying, no, you do not have to pay $2.7 million, even though you have it. Why pay more than you're supposed to? When you could take that money and give it to other situations in your life, other projects. She has a business. If you just start giving away millions of dollars willy-nilly, that's not smart business, even if it's the IRS. So what exactly does Beyonce's team have to say to this? So in an exclusive statement to People magazine, her attorney, Michael Cohen.
Hold on, guys. I have to get cut. Hold on.
Isn't that the name of it? I don't believe it's the same person, okay? The other guy's attorney, the former attorney. So lawyer Michael C. Cohen, who represents the singer, tells People in a statement, we are working with the IRS and anticipate that the matter will be resolved shortly. And when this initially dropped yesterday, a lot of people were like, how do we even know this? Why is this information even public? Well, look, I think it's a good thing that some of this information is public, especially when we talk about what happened in politics over the last 8 years in regards to people's tax information that are running for public office was not public information. And it also lets you know who's paying their fair share and those who are not paying their fair share. Not to say that Beyonce isn't, but there are plenty of major corporations that are not paying their fair share in taxes. When you and I are paying all of this money in taxes, there are large companies that have made billions that didn't pay federal taxes.
Can y'all believe this shit?
That's mind-boggling. See, normally we don't have these types of conversations unless it crosses over into the world of pop culture. And thank you, Beyonce, because look, because Beyonce is challenging the IRS, this is going to make us think again, like, wow, does that mean I can challenge the IRS? Yes, that's your right as a taxpayer. You can challenge it if you and your accountant agree, like, well, yeah, you're entitled to these deductions. Or maybe you need a new accountant. Very much like when you go to the doctor and you want to get a second opinion, the same should be when it comes to your money. Just saying, and it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire or a thousandaire or a hundredaire. I don't know if that exists, but you know what I'm saying. Guys, shout out to our accountants, because I know right now you all are like, after this tax season. Shout out to our tax attorneys. I want to know your thoughts and your perspectives. And as always, guys, please keep in mind, the perspectives of everyone in the comment section is not concrete. Everyone's going to have a difference of opinion. Attorneys have difference of opinion when we're talking about legal cases. Doesn't make one person more right than the other. But let's have an adult conversation about taxes. Have you paid your taxes? Did you get an extension? Are you actively working on them? Just asking. I'm done. I'm done, at least for this year. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
Ooh, you bring the light. I got